Hi, I'm Dr. John Martin with Ivy Family Health Updates, and I'm here today with my brothers, Dr. Ed Martin, and my sister, Dr. Catherine Martin, and today we are going to discuss sunscreens and the importance of using sunscreens every day. Now, when we think about ultraviolet light, there are really two types of light that we need to be concerned about, UVA and UVB. Now we'll start with UVB because that's the one that most people are familiar with, and that's what I call the burning ray, the UVB. So that's the ray that will give you the sunburn. But there's another very important ray called the UVA, and that's an aging ray. The UVA rays can penetrate further into the skin than the UVB, and that's what can cause premature skin aging, and it can also cause pigmentation. It also can go through glass, which is why frequently you'll notice that people, the left side of their face will be more sun damaged because when they're driving, they're getting extra sun on that side of their face, and those UVA rays are causing extra pigmentation and extra wrinkling. Now, when we talk about sunscreens, we used to always be concerned with SPF, which is the sun protection factor. Now, that only applies to the UVB ray, the burning ray, and that's all we really had for a long time. So that people would, the sun protection would help decrease the burning, but not a lot of the aging that was still going on. So now it's very important to use something that has both a UVA and a UVB, and we're going to go over those in just a minute. But SPF, that's your sun protection factor, and what it means is it's the amount of time you could spend in the sun without burning as opposed to with a product. So if you would burn in 1 minute without anything, you theoretically could stay in the sun for 15 minutes without burning. But you definitely don't want to spend that amount of time, and it's very hard to apply enough product to actually provide that amount of protection. But we're going to go over to our table and show you some sunscreens, what the differences are between the UVA and the UVB blocker, and a couple of recommendations that have been made in the press. Now, it's important to use an SPF of at least 15 because an SPF of 15 blocks at least 94% of the rays. As you go up a little bit higher, it's a logarithmic scale, so actually by 15 you're doing pretty well. SPF of 30 gives 90%, 97% rather, so you want to do at least a 15 to 30 because then you know you're getting pretty good protection from the sun. Now years ago, the first sunblock that was on the market, sunscreen, was called HABA, but it was hard to apply. It came in an alcohol-based solution, so if you missed areas on your skin, you would get burns in those areas. We have a lot of different products out there now, and a variety of different both UVA and UVB blocks. And the UVA blocks are actually fairly new in the last few years. But your UVB blocks, these are also the big names, but you have your benzophenone, cinnamate, salicylates, and the HABA. And for the UVA blocks, there's the avobenzone, and there's also something called Nexoral SX, which actually is very new in the last year or two. These help prevent those those aging rays, so it helps decrease the incidence of wrinkling and also the pigmentation that you will see in your skin. Then, very important are the sunblocks. And what's the difference between the sunblocks? Well, the sunblocks, such as zinc oxide or titanium, they sit on top of the skin and actually work as a physical barrier and reflect the sun's rays. What the sunscreens do, those are absorbed by your skin, and those actually help to, it's a chemical that helps decrease the penetration of the rays. So it's a little bit different. One is actually reflecting the rays off. And certainly the zinc and titanium are very, very important, and they used to be very white. I remember you put the white stuff on your nose. Now they make them with microparticles so that they blend in a lot more. You don't see as much white on your skin as you used to. And one of the newer products is something called the Helioplex or anti-Helios. Helios is the Greek god of the sun, and so Neutrogena has a product called Helioplex, which is actually the avobenzone, and there are other products with the anti-Helios, which is the Nexoral SX. But all of those are UVA blocks. Now, what should you be using? Lots of different products out there. This is one that I sell in my office. It's sort of a high-end product called SkinCeuticals. It's a 45 sports block. It doesn't come off easily. It has both the zinc and the titanium in it. It does go on fairly thick, and it does make it look a little bit whiter, but it blends in after a few minutes. And this is one of the best ones that I've used, especially outside. Certainly Coppertone makes a lot of different products. If it says sweat-proof, it's not really sweat-proof, waterproof, not really waterproof. They may be water-resistant, so you really need to reapply these every once in a while. For kids, great new thing are these continuous sprays where you just push on the button, it just sprays, and you can apply the product that way. Now, Consumer Reports, too, that they recommended, the Neutrogena, the 45, the Dry Touch Sunblock, which is actually very nice because it's not very greasy at all, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. You get this big bottle of No Ad, which I got at the supermarket, and a 45 UVA, UVB blocking, sweat-proof, they call it waterproof. As we said, you need to reapply. Now, one of the biggest problems is how much to apply, because for your whole body, you really would need about 2 ounces of sunscreen. This is a 3-ounce bottle, okay? So you need to use 2/3 of the bottle every time you go out in the sun. And people aren't going to do that. But so make sure you put on a good amount initially and try to reapply. If you only put on a small amount, your SPF of 30 you may decrease that even to an SPF of 5 or 10. So always be careful in the sun, try to reapply. This is the moisturizer that I use during the day. It has an SPF of 25 in it with both UVA and UVB blocks. I'm sure I don't put on enough to make it actually an SPF of 25, but it's definitely helpful to wear something during the day. Women's makeup.
A lot of makeups have SPF now.
Right, a lot of makeups have SPF. And the powders, have you seen the loose powders?
Oh, yeah.
That they have a little bit of zinc and titanium in them, so you can brush those on. So every little bit is really helping to provide a little extra sun protection.
How about the safety of tanning salons? They certainly advertise nowadays that there's no more burning risk.
Well, there's no such thing as a safe tanning salon, and they use mostly the UVA rays, so you don't get a bad sunburn usually, but those UVA rays will increase your pigmentation, so it'll give you the tan, but that's also creating the premature skin aging and also can contribute to both basal cell and squamous cell carcinomas. So they really are not a safe alternative. A safe alternative, however, are the self-tanners, and they're a lot better than they used to be because they used to turn you sort of orange, and now actually the color can be pretty good. I'm amazed when people come in and I berate them for being in the sun, and they all say, no, it's a self-tanner, so they really can look pretty good.
How about if it's not a sunny day or you're going out early in the morning, you still need to apply these?
Well, even on a hazy day, about 80% of the UV rays can be coming through the light cloud cover. So it's still very, very important to be putting on sunscreen every day, no matter what it's like outdoors. I mean, if it's pouring rain, you wouldn't have to. But other than that, it's really good to put something on every day. And remember that they eventually do lose their potency. So if you have a product that's been around for a year or two, you really need to throw that away. And we recommend after about every year to throw things away, which is important because I know when we go home and I'm sure there's sunscreen that's been there for 2 or 3 years and there's a brand that someone doesn't like and they put it in the back and then it reappears, but you may be getting burned if you're using some of the older products.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.